Welcome to another episode of Race Analysis. This is from Stage 3 of the Valley of the Sun Stage Race in Arizona, and you are on board with me, Coach Jonathan Lee. And in this case, I was joined by Clif Bar Racing athletes Zach Allison, Kevin Mullerby, Joe Lewis, and Pete Morris. And we go through two specific topics on this: how to move up through the race in an efficient manner early on, and how to scope lines or find the right lines. Let's dive in. For a point of reference, you can see all of my information just down below. If you look into the description, that's where you can subscribe to to our YouTube channel, which you totally should, because we have race analysis like this and educational videos on how to become faster coming out all the time. So subscribe right now if you're watching this. So the plan was just to kind of ride efficiently, but I spent the first few laps trying to figure out spots where I could kind of feeling out the course, because we couldn't ride it beforehand. So I was trying to kind of scope lines, see if there were spots where the pack was always slowing down and I could carry more momentum. How do you guys balance that? Because it did come, at least in my case, with more energy cost. Is that something that you look to do in a race, kind of figure out the course, or do you just stick to the tactic?
I think that we're a team that you could classify as skilled, bike handlers. Not that you're not at all, but so it's, as I'm watching the beginning of the race, you didn't get a really great start positioning wise, which I prefer, honestly. And then I kind of, whether I'm starting at the front or the back, in general, I get the pleasure of starting at the front for various call-ups for various reasons. But I'm the worst starter. I will start first row, and in the first lap, I will be second to last rider. And I generally don't warm up, so it all kind of goes into this whole process. But
you should warm up.
Sprinting?
Yeah, you can warm up. It's kind of up to you. It depends on where you start. But you are moving up pretty aggressively, which I think is good. You want to move up, but I would say you can take the first 5 to 8 laps and just sort of move up, or you can even wait for the field to get tired and balloon. There's always a massive balloon in the first 5 laps where you can move up the whole field in maybe 10 pedal strokes. So you don't have to fight yourself and really fight for 2 or 3 positions when you know the field's going to balloon maybe a lap later. So
yeah, I think especially for you, like you mentioned that you wanted it to come down to a sprint. So that's what you're banking on. So this was a 45-minute race, you said. So if you're planning on it to come down to a sprint, I think you can take your time to move up and keep your heart rate down and power down. Because it seems like right now the heart rate, for me, that would be pretty pinned now.
That's above threshold for me.
About 175 is my threshold.
Yeah, so
heart rate. So.
Giving her. And you can see it already right now starting to balloon. It's not as single file. So, and I think you're doing a good job on the inside, moving up, especially through that first corner. You moved up 5 guys, maybe without any effort.
Yeah, I would say try to, if you're getting those free moves up the field, then relax and let all those guys pass you again.
See
right?
See how they're fanning out here? This is that moment that I think you can really wait for. If you start at the back, you got to remember that everyone else is trying to move up too. Yeah. People at the front are trying to stay at the front, and they're going to be going hard and attacking. But after a few minutes, a few laps, people are going to get tired. They're going to fan out. And if it's not strung out, you're going to be able to move up a lot more positions a lot quicker.
And always try to follow somebody. Make them do the work, right? So like you said, everyone wants to move up, so follow wheels.
In that turn there, the gutter, I feel like the road was really rough, and the gutter was just a perfectly smooth section. Do you hunt for sections like that and look for smoother pavement, or do you just kind of push that to the side and pavement's pavement?
I say pavement's pavement. I've gotten yelled at in breakaways. People are like, I don't want to ride over this stuff. We're going to flat. And it's maybe we're on really good equipment. We are on really good equipment, but I look for the line and the line that people aren't using as a way to move up. So in this course, we're kind of on the opposite side of the course now, but I'd be the guy that people shake their head at that sort of goes Mach 10 through this next right turn, which would be turn 2.5 sort of, and then just goes into the bike lane through the cones. And you're close, so you had the line there. And but so then you're going 3 or 4 miles an hour faster than everyone, but you just from not hitting the brakes and carrying momentum. And then on this course in particular, the last 2 turns, you can go into it 3 or 4 miles an hour faster than everyone else that's braking before the turn, because you in your mind know that there's parking stalls there. So if you go straight across into the parking stalls, move up on the outside, and just don't brake and carry 4 or 5 miles an hour faster, then you can move up 10 people a lap, even if it's single file or strung out, just by carrying speed.
So that's like looking outside the normal race line and just whatever else everybody else is doing. Like, take a look at what's actually surrounding you and try to utilize it, right?
Exactly.
It's also a criterium too. So if you get a flat, just take that free lap.
Yeah.
This is a really good move that you're doing right now on the right in the balloon. You're hesitating a little bit. Jam it. Jam.
Get there.
Attack,
jam
you're saying?
it and get. Yeah, if you're on the inside, then you're sort of in control of the corner. So a lot of times people will move up, but then you'll hesitate because you're like, oh, I need to set up for the next turn. But if you kind of jam the inside, maybe you have to brake, but you still got that positioning.
I was thinking coming into that section there, I was just like, free 6 spots, because it just kind of ballooned. So do you think I should have utilized that for an attack there?
No, not for an attack, but you could have, just by braking less or keeping that momentum, you could have moved up another 5 or 6 riders. And it's kind of a nerve thing, and you got to keep it safe for sure. But you can kind of be a little bit more aggressive going in onto the inside of the turn. If you're choosing to move up in that moment when it is ballooning, you can jam the inside of the turn as respectfully as possible and move up a couple more free spots.
Yeah, and it's super, being respectful means you push harder through the inside. Like if you really are taking the inside, pedal more so you get the free line, like the open line, rather than jamming brakes into everybody else who's taking the corner. If you can pedal 3 or 4 more pedal strokes really hard and get in front of everybody, you actually got a really sweet line through there, and you didn't like infuriate anybody.
Maybe wave too, like when you cut someone off in traffic in a merge lane, and then you like kind of passive aggressively wave, like thanks for not giving me the line. Just wave, as you go through the turn, jam the inside, and then kind of wave like thanks for let me in, and then
like it's normal for you.
Like, oh, he waved.
Fine.
Yeah, he waved. He's a nice guy. Yeah, so you got away with it.
I feel like this is. I think I've said this on every race analysis episode, but I'm gonna send the message to the cycling public once again: stop braking. Like, yes, like all of us agree that it's harder to reaccelerate, and it's not needed, especially on this course. There's not a single moment when brakes are needed.
No.
So you can just roll all the way through. And it's fine, especially like you said in those last 2 turns, you have those parking stalls, so it makes it a round turn, almost like a 180. It's like got plenty of room for it. So at this point in the race, I was still like kind of figuring some lines out, and you can see the really big rider with the cheetah, the little leopard thing, the TMB Equator kit for Mike's Bikes. He is the rider that I'm trying to mark. He's just up a few riders in front of the rider in the blue kit right now. So I wasn't concerned with marking him right now because I didn't think that he would want to go for a long move, and if he did, I figured people would try to chase and pull that down since he was clearly marked. So I was just kind of sitting back. Would you guys, if you have a marked or a rider that you know is just extremely strong like that, would you mark him earlier on and just try to attach to his moves in this case, or what would you do? Like, I guess, was I at fault just sitting back and not worrying about him until the end?
I don't know if I'd want to be in a break with him going turn for turn, but I guess you could. He might be a little less experienced, so if you did get in a break with him, you know that he is really strong, and if you play your cards right and take slightly shorter turns, and he's super confident, often that can go against him.
Did he look really comfortable? Like, if you're looking at him as your competitor, a lot of times a rider that's really, really strong like that isn't necessarily as good in a crit or in turns, so could you tell if he was comfortable?
Yeah, he didn't. So I thought I was surprised because I feel like he was going to carry more. I felt like he was going to carry more momentum through turns, be a little bit smoother with line choice, and that wasn't quite there. Also, toward the end of the race, he seemed more tired than I expected him to be, and it was like a surgy effort for him because he had to chase a number of moves down, and he even tried a couple moves on his own. So maybe he's like the sort of rider that just doesn't deal well with a lot of repeated accelerations, or he doesn't determine when that happens. So he didn't look as comfortable as I anticipated he would.
Yeah, and going off that, I think you're a one-man team in this race. He was a one-man team, and I don't know if there was bigger teams in this race, but going back to the question you were asking about being closer to him, and obviously he's leading the GC, right? So I won't sweat it like being right on his wheel the whole day and trying to waste energy and stressing about, I need to be right on his wheel. Like, have the other big teams chase him down if he does make a move like that.
And what he can do is he can always change his mind halfway through the race. He's already winning. He can just be like, all I have to do is finish with everybody and I win the race. And he doesn't have to do anything. So he can always backtrack, right? Like, no matter what, he still wins. So it's really hard to cue off of someone who has like 3 or 4 backup plans that all still win him the race.
Yeah.
Like any good author, that was good foreshadowing there, Pete. That covers it for this episode of Race Analysis from this specific race, but we have 2 more videos coming, so stay tuned for those. If you like that video, you should give it a thumbs up and comment down below to let us know what you liked about it. Or if you didn't like it, just let us know what you would have done better down below. If you like videos like that, you can check it out because we have a ton of videos just like it. We have a full playlist for race analysis, a playlist for full race videos, so you can watch those while you train. And then we have a ton of other educational content on our YouTube channel. So you should subscribe. And if you want to become a faster cyclist, head up to TrainerRoad.com. It'll make you faster.